peoples, Mood 616 here, and yes, this is Funky Friday, episode 20. Finally made it to 20 after all these months. Yeah, so what's up, peoples? So this week I decided to talk about something that came out, well, more recently anyways. You know, most of the stuff that I talk about is relatively older. But with that said, this kind of is like almost like a throwback album, of course. But anyways, this album right here, I first discovered about, I would say probably about a year after it dropped. I'd never even heard of, I'd never heard of the album. Someone posted it up on the underground hip hop forums, and at first I thought it was an instrumental album because in a second I'll show you the album cover, and you know, it doesn't look very hip hop at all. I just thought it was just like a, some type of instrumental record. But anyways, gave it a shot and just was absolutely fucking blown away by this record. Anyways, I'm talking about Brothaz Bent. The album is called Up From the Desert. Now, that's what I'm talking about with the album cover. It doesn't really look like a hip-hop related album. I mean, really, if you didn't know anything about this album, and you saw this on a shelf at a store, you might walk right past it, it doesn't really look like much. Now, I did do some research on this record just before I was shooting this video here. I wanted to check out prices on it, because this came out in 2007. I wanted to see if it was, heavily out of print, or if you could still actually get it so I could talk about it. So I found their Bandcamp page, Brothaz Bent Bandcamp page, and they're selling copies of their CD on there for $40. Now, when I bought this album about a year after it came out, I think I got it on eBay, but it was brand new, and I believe I paid like $10 for it. So that was a pretty good deal. Now, I don't understand why they're selling copies for $40 on their Bandcamp, because if they're selling it, I mean, unless that's just what they have left of their stock or something, and it is out of print, I don't know. But I went on to Dislogs, and they're starting about $20 for the CD too. And vinyls too, I think going up to about $50, $60. Like, there always is like really high ones, level ones. But for you vinyl heads out there, there actually is a pressing of vinyl of this, so and I'm sure it's pretty rare too, so you can get your hands on a copy of it. But anyways, getting to Brothaz Bent, this album runs really long. It's about 23 tracks deep, runs about 75 minutes long. It's a little long for my liking, but that's probably the biggest complaint I have of the album, and that's not really saying a whole lot. I mean, that's not really a big problem, but it is a long album. So Brothaz Bent, also known as the Arch Druids, they've recently produced for Rock Marciano. They did some stuff with the Lost Children of Babylon a few years back and stuff. Relatively haven't done that much stuff, but and this album right here flew the fuck under the radar, man. Getting into Brothaz Bent, they're made up of, this album consists of a couple different people, Don Chalant and Woozy Medwick, and it says Hyde Hype on here. Don Chalant and Woozy Medwick, they're producers. Don Chalant does most of the MCing on here. And there's a few guest appearances by just random people. I don't really know who they are, but to the sound of the record, this is one of those albums that it came out in 2007, and it sounds like it came out in the fucking 90s. I was blown away, because when they posted, I was like, when the fuck did this come out? Like, I couldn't find anything on it. Like, it was so obscure. Then I eventually found out it came out in 2007, and was just blown away by the production on this. It sounds really good. It's really crisp, kind of boom bap. There's some, and the cool thing about this record is that it's the sounds, they don't vary too much in the record, but there is the songs that are a little darker. There's nothing really up tempo too much on this one, but the fucking beats on here are amazing. I mean, if you've heard some of the stuff that they've done with Rock Marciano recently, it's, you can kind of compare it to that. I believe they did the song Emeralds recently with Rock Marciano. But this one is just like that throwback sound, but done so fucking well. Like, it sounds new, but it's, it's like a throwback sound. The MCs on this record, it varies, man. Like, some of the features, you know, Don Schlont, they kind of remind me of, like, a combination of, like, oh, man, there's, like, a little bit of old boot camp click in there with, like, a lot of it reminds me of Cellar Dwellers, just shit like that from the 90s. It's really crazy, man. Pretty cool content. There's some interesting lines in this record, but, you know, I'll leave that to you. I'm not going to talk about getting into the lyrics and stuff, but but this record right here, like I said, runs really, really long. Now, if you're not a big fan of long-ass records, this one might be a chore to sit through. But, you know, the overall effect of this record is just, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It's one of those records that really flew underneath the radar, and it's just totally fucking obscure. I mean, people still don't really even ever bring this one up, but I don't know, man. If you like that throwback 90s sound, very, you know, very, very fucking cool instrumentals on this record. I would actually love to get an instrumental record of this, but I love the samples that they use in this record. Tons of really good loop samples and shit like that. Just basically 90s hip-hop is what it is. Done very, very fucking well. So I highly recommend this record. If I had to rate this record, I would definitely give this one 4.5 out of 5. Losing a little bit, just, it's such a shitty, fucking stupid way to complain about a record, but it is a little long, and it runs like exactly 75 minutes long. But you know what? Features are good on this record. You know, there's just too many songs to break it down and talk about it individually, but this song right here is fucking dope. It's in the background right now. It's one of my favorites on the album. But yeah, if you like that type of sound, definitely check this one out. It's still available and not overly retarded expensive. So yeah, Up From the Desert. Now, I think the Arch Druids are supposed to be dropping something, or their album. I don't know. There's no release date, but when the fuck, like, if anybody has any information on the Arch Druids shit, man, let me know, because, you know, I've heard about it coming out for, what, the last couple of years, and it's just never dropping, and they're not doing a whole lot of production, so I'm just wondering what the fuck they're doing. But yeah, once again, Brothaz Bent, check this shit out, man, especially if you like this sound. Even if you're not, like, the biggest 90s fan, definitely check it out anyways, because it's just, it sounds new, but it sounds old, if that makes any sense. Anyways, Mood 616, episode 20, Funkee Fridays. Try to do these more regularly, you know, once every 2 weeks is probably what it's going to be, but who knows, I'll try to get them in a little more. I have, like, a whole fucking, I just made another list of albums that I'm going to do, and some are actually a lot newer and not throwback albums, so if you're getting tired of hearing me talk about throwback albums or even 90s boom bap or whatever, there'll be some other ones in there, I promise. Okay, anyways, Mood 616 signing up. Peace out, homies.